Hello beautiful souls, and welcome back to my channel Soul Journey. My name is Becca Himza, and today I wanted to talk about why we manifest disease in our bodies, or not feeling well, or even just chronic pain, chronic tiredness. And I wanted to talk about why this happens vibrationally. And I wanted to just put it in simple terms so that we can start understanding why it happens and really starting to shift how we work with our own energy and consciously manifest our reality, and understand how our thoughts and our feelings really play a big role in when we are manifesting dis-ease or sickness in our bodies. So if you'd like to come along on that journey, love to have you, and thank you for joining me in this video. All right, let's get into it. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the concept of our connection to our inner being, our higher self, source consciousness, and kind of put it in terms of a power source. So we obviously have our body manifested in the physical. It's a projection of our higher self, our inner self's intention to come onto the planet. So what's running our body is that constant stream of energy, of consciousness, kind of like a light bulb. So you have the light bulb, but what's keeping it on is the electricity. If you pull it, take it away from the electricity, if you pull it out of the light socket, it stops working. And when we reconnect back into non-physical, or when we pass and we rejoin source, that life stream or electricity leaves the body. And that's why the body no longer is animated. That's why it then breaks down, because what is keeping it going, what's keeping that life force, the cells regenerating and the body continuing to have life in it, is that life stream, that life force stream. So as we, recede from, we pull our consciousness back out of the body, it then disintegrates because nothing's keeping it running. So disease and sickness is stagnant energy, or rather a lack of energy. And I wanted to talk about this because oftentimes we see it as something that's affecting us from outside of us, or our body, being against us, or whatever it is. And what we really need to start looking at it as is a lack of life force energy, of being pinched off from that fuller stream. Now, what a lot of us are starting to recognize when it comes to being more in tune with our higher self, or our inner self, being more aligned, we know that that feels really good, right? When you're aligned with your inner source, when your thoughts and your actions are aligned with that inner being, you feel amazing. You feel rejuvenated, energized, all of those things. As you have beliefs and feelings and thoughts that don't align with your inner being, you kind of pull away, you're separating yourself, and you get farther and farther away from the vibration, the space that your inner being is in. Your inner being is aligned with ultimate health, infinite well-being, eternal everything, eternal power, your infinite being, essentially. And so as you separate away from that, we know that, when you have a thought that doesn't feel good, or you have a belief that doesn't feel good, it means that you're separating farther and farther away from the vibrational alignment that your higher being is in. So you're basically getting farther and farther away because of the thoughts and the beliefs you're having. So your vibration is creating distance. There's more distance between you and your higher self, or your inner self, because there's a vibrational discord or variance between the two. And that's when we start experiencing, realities that are limited, and things get more difficult. And because we're not in that, as Abraham would say, high-flying disc space, or in the vortex, things just get difficult, right? So as you move away and you move towards it, in your everyday life, you have different beliefs that come up, oh, I can manifest that, or oh no, I can't do that. You're kind of coming back and forth. Now, we know that society and the way we are raised oftentimes puts us in a place where we're often very far away from our highest being. You know, we have limited beliefs. We believe, you know, we are a victim, that we are out of control, that we don't create a reality, all that stuff. So oftentimes we're kind of far away from this inner being's awareness and our true fullest connection to that stream, right? So that's why things often feel kind of and we will, you know, we do line up with it occasionally, you know, when things feel good or whatever, when we fall in love, then we are much closer to here, and this is why we feel so good, right? So the reason why disease and not feeling well shows up, it's actually an indication that you've been out of alignment with yourself for far too long, essentially. And if you want to see it as, you know, if you've got like a hose and, you know, that water is flying through there and you start pinching it off, the stream of water is going to start trickling out. And I think you probably know where I'm going with this. If your body, to run at full capacity and at its full life, needs that full life force stream, as you separate away from the knowing of your higher being, so again, your infinite health, infinite abundance, infinite love, all of those things, as you are focused on a reality that is limited, you start pinching yourself off from that life force energy. And if you've done it for long enough, your body starts feeling the experience of that. It starts reacting to the fact that it's not getting enough life force. It's not getting enough food, if you will. If you're not eating enough, you're going to start, you know, breaking down, shutting down, right? So when your body isn't getting all that life force energy, kind of like the light bulb, if you don't give it enough electricity, it is going to start dimming. And essentially, the longer you keep yourself at that far state, the less and less and less your body is going to function. And that's why often disease, if it is not taken care of, does end up, you know, ending in death or realigning with it, because you're so far away that essentially you can't get any farther, and you need to realign with your being, because you are still, you know, both these things. And the farther you get away, you are eventually going to, you know, get pulled back, almost like a rubber band. You know, if you get too far, it's going to like snap back, essentially. So that's why the farther, you know, the longer you're out of alignment with yourself, you know, the longer you are believing those thoughts of, again, limitation and not remembering your infiniteness and your ability to heal yourself, the longer that is. And your body does not function as well without that life source. As we know, as when you realign back into non-physical, your body breaks down very, very quickly. It does not last very long without that life force energy, just like the light bulb. Once it's off, you know, like it's not shining. So it's really important for us to be aware of the fact that if you are experiencing a disease, it is really because you've been living so long out of alignment with yourself. You've gotten used to beliefs and thoughts that don't feel good, because we're told life is a struggle, you know, feeling good and feeling bad, they're arbitrary. If you're feeling bad, just do something else, get through it, get over it. You're not really aligning yourself with the understanding of your well-being. And so because we are so used to this, it's very easy to slip into dis-ease. And when our bodies aren't functioning properly, there might be lots of things out there like microorganisms and, you know, bacteria and all of the viruses that can much more easily attack your body because you aren't in your state of full aliveness, right? So we know this. I mean, we talk about this with the immune system. You know, everything that is spiritual is, you know, everything that is physical is also spiritual, and everything that's physical is a manifestation of the spiritual. So if you do the spiritual for too long, it will, you know, manifest into the physical eventually. So we can see this almost like the immune system, right? So we know that when your immune system is heightened and powerful, you can be around bacteria and all kinds of stuff, and it doesn't really affect your body. In fact, we have a lot of that in our body, and we don't even notice it's there. It's when our immune system is compromised. It's when we've stressed ourselves out for too long, when we've pushed ourselves too far, that our body gets into a state of not functioning as well. And then those things have a much easier time taking hold. And that's when you often get sick. That's why so many people say, like, if you're sick, it means your body's trying to take you out so you can rest, because you've probably been pushing yourself too hard, either mentally, physically, or emotionally. So we can kind of see this in the same way, and it is the same thing, it's just manifested in the physical, that the more you pinch yourself off from your life force energy, your full consciousness, your connection to source, the easier it is for your body to break down and not function correctly. As we know, things like cancer or tumors, is your body not functioning properly because it's not getting all the information it needs. It's not getting all the life force it needs to run well. And so your body is not being directed properly. It's not being nourished properly. And that's why, you see these people who have these miraculous healings who, they have cancer, they have anything. There's been miraculous healing on every level. There's people who've literally broken their backs, they're paralyzed, and 2 years later they're walking, right? So we see that it really comes down to how many times it is said, like, I knew I was going to walk again, so I did. Or someone has cancer and they're just like, screw it, I'm quitting my job, I'm going out and I'm going to live life, and they have a miraculous healing. And it comes down to the fact that when we are making choices that are in alignment with lack and hardship and things like that, our body isn't going to function. But if we make that drastic change, or we have the thought shift of, no, I can heal, we see this in epigenetics, is that the thoughts or the placebo effect, your thoughts are so crucial, if not the only thing, that dictates your well-being or your lack of well-being or things like that. So you'll notice that if you really look into these miraculous healings, usually something shifted, or there was a belief that they could be healed. For instance, if someone believes in the power of prayer, that their deity can help them, usually there's some sort of faith that they say, like, no, I believe I can be healed, and then they are. And that's really because that belief aligns with, no matter what the story is around it, it aligns with there is something, I can align with health, or there's something that it can cause me to heal. There's a belief that it's possible, and therefore that belief, because it is aligned with your higher being, because it is infinite and understands your infinite well-being, it aligns with that, and therefore your body, taps into its fullest self. It's more aligned with its fullest being, and your body starts working again because it's now got all the electricity tuned in and turned on. And that's why I love when Abraham talks about being tapped in, tuned in, turned on. It's kind of that same concept of you are fully being charged, being empowered. So if you're dealing with, even anything from a cold to a chronic illness, start being aware of your thoughts. Are you focusing on the lack of something? Are you focusing on, and obviously once it's manifested in the physical, it can feel very hard not to be focused on that, but be aware. How often are you confirming that you have that issue? How often are you confirming that, oh, now I have a chronic illness, it's never gonna go away. I have to deal with this for the rest of my life. Start noticing your limiting beliefs, or even just if you're starting to not feel well, notice, okay, how much am I playing into the collective dream that getting sick is normal, or life is difficult, or it could even be, just the idea of being pinched off in general. What is your belief around your infinite abundance? What is your belief around your infinite well-being? What is your belief about infinite love, relationship, all of those things? Start recognizing how much you're buying into that there's lack, or that you're limited because you're in a human body, or whatever it is. You might find that your limiting beliefs are much more activated in your system than you realize. And as you start having that awareness, you can start aligning your thoughts back into alignment with what your higher being knows, or your inner being knows, which is that you are infinite, that you are eternal, that your natural state is well-being and light, and grandness and that you are an infinite creator. And as you start shifting your beliefs, you might actually recognize that your body is functioning better. I have had this experience myself. For the longest time, I dealt with lots of health issues since I was quite young. And there was always something. My body was always in pain. My body was always, there was something. I remember telling my mom, like, at any given time, there's some sort of discomfort in my body. And this year, I have started, recognizing my connection with my body was very disconnected from my body. And so I've been working on my embodiment practice. I've been working on being more gentle with myself. If something's uncomfortable in my body, instead of going like, oh, I don't like that, I get really present with that part of my body and go, okay, what is it that you need? How can I connect into this? Your natural state is health. You're doing the best you can. And having a more confirming conversation with that part of my body instead of being like, oh, I hate that or whatever. And it has done miraculous things. And it's not miraculous. It's just how the laws of the universe work. Your vibration, your reality is a reflection of the vibration you're holding, your belief systems, your thoughts. And so as you recognize that, you start realizing that a lot of your relationships to things are actually very in a state of limited belief. And so as I've become more and more present with my body, as I have stopped seeing germs and things like that as something that can victimize me, but rather that I allow for them to affect my body if I'm not in alignment, I have been experiencing so much more health. My body feels stronger. I can do more things. And I was really struggling, not to get too far into it because, we don't want to focus on it too long, but I experienced asthma, I experienced a lot of body pain. Everything hurt. I always felt kind of nauseous, or my digestion was always off. I had headache. Like, I had all of these experiences because I was pinching myself off from the thing that was giving those parts of my body life. So they were not functioning well and they weren't feeling good. And the amazing thing about your body is it tells you exactly what's going on, that you are being cut off. And when we start seeing our feelings and the feelings in our body and our feelings emotionally, instead of seeing them as this thing that's annoying or uncomfortable, but saying like, oh, it's alerting me to I'm pinching myself off somewhere. Kind of like the bumps on the side of the road when you start drifting off the road. Yes, it's an annoying sound, but it's like, oh, I got to get back on track. And so as you start seeing these uncomfortable things, whether it's manifested in the physical or it's manifesting as an emotion or a thought that doesn't feel good, you say, that's out of alignment. It doesn't feel good. That pulling apart, that stretching, it doesn't feel good because you're not close to your inner being. When you are close to your inner being, when you're aligned with your inner being, it feels phenomenal because you are whole, you are complete. And so as you start moving towards that, you feel amazing. And your body will eventually manifest that alignment. And as we know, the first thing that shifts is your thought. You can shift your thought very, very quickly and you can move up the vibrational scale. And as you do that, your emotions soon follow. And then as you stay in that for long enough, then the physical catches up. So give yourself a little time. It's not going to happen immediately unless that's your ultimate belief and you have no resistance to that. Often people do. So allow yourself some gentleness, allow yourself some time. There's always a little bit of a gap. So allow yourself to understand your infinite well-being. And as your beliefs and thoughts slowly come into the habit of that, you will recognize, or you'll start to notice, that your body starts feeling lighter. Your body starts functioning better. Those pains are not quite as painful. And the more you do that, the more your body is rejuvenated, the more your body is in a state of health and it's natural well-being. And your body will eventually line up with that because your body is a projection of your higher self, of your inner self. It is connected. It is all one. Your inner self and your physical body, one's not better than the other, but one is holding the natural state vibration of who you are. And the other one kind of goes in and out because that's the contrast we've decided to play into in this reality. And through that, we get to experience how much we are in control of our creation, because whether it feels good or not, we are creating it. And that comes through focus and our beliefs and our thoughts. And sometimes it takes a little while. You might know it intellectually, but you haven't integrated it into your body. There's still a lot of, there could be a belief that you've thought for so long that it is a habit. It's very easy to fall back into that. So that's why meditation is so important, because not only is it peaceful and beautiful and enjoyable in the moment, but it is training you, because I don't really believe in the whole like clear your mind of everything. I feel that meditation is really about focusing back in, back in, back in. So it should be something that doesn't charge you too much. So it could be a gong, it could be, the air conditioner, it could be the traffic, whatever it is. Something that doesn't charge your thoughts. So you just bring it back to the thought, bring it back to the thought. And that's really the action of meditation. It's not about being in that state all the time. Meditation is about the bringing back, right? So as you meditate every day, you're teaching yourself how to focus easily, and you work that muscle so that when you are out and you have a thought that's not in alignment, you can easily, because you've worked the muscle, tune into the belief or the thought or the thing that feels better, focus on the other thing. And as you work that focus muscle, that becomes so easy. So as soon as you have that thought, you're like, no. And your brain can easily do that for you because you've practiced it through meditation. So meditation is hugely important, not only just for that, because I'm not thinking about things, it feels better, but it is so crucial when it comes to manifesting the reality you want, manifesting your creative power, because it's all about your focus. And as you practice that focus muscle, it will be very easy for you to bring it back comfortably and stay in that state because it will feel good and you'll have worked that muscle. So that's why that's really important. So if you are struggling with your health or things like that, meditation might be the first step in aligning your body. Because when you are in meditation and you're not having thoughts that are discordant with your inner being and you have that neutral state, you will actually naturally align with your inner being. And so meditation can be your first step to health, because anytime you're in a meditative state and you're bringing it back to that focus, you don't have any beliefs that are taking you off into a direction that is of lack or whatever, you will naturally align, because as like Abraham would say, the cork naturally floats. It takes resistance to pull it down. But if there's no resistance because you're not having those resistance thoughts, the cork will bounce back up, and that's that higher vibration. So meditation can actually be one of the most healing things for you. And then as you practice that, then you can bring your thoughts into alignment as you think them or as you have an awareness. And it doesn't have to be every time. It's about recognizing it when you do and not judging it when you don't, and allowing yourself some gentleness, because that's another thing, being hard on yourself, being judgmental of yourself, all of those things, those are pinching off beliefs. So even if you're not having a good day, if you can release the judgment around and say, okay, well, tomorrow can be better, or I can always realign, all those thoughts, that is also allowing that stream of health, well-being, and that electricity for your body to flow in more. And you'll start recognizing that slowly but surely, your body is starting to feel a lot better. The doctors won't know what hit you, and you're going to feel amazing as you remember to realign with your inner power source. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope it was clear. It's something that I have personally been experiencing myself, but as I'm diving deeper into, I just saw 222. As I've been aligning more with my understanding of my intense creative power of my reality and really diving into this awareness has become even more potent. And I realized this is what I've been doing, even if I wasn't fully aware of it. As I was getting more present with my body and not judging it so much, I was already doing it. Now I understand why it was working. So I hope this was a helpful video for you. If you have any questions, definitely comment them down below. And then give this video a like if you liked it and want to see more content like this. And hit subscribe if you haven't already. And the notification bell if you are so inclined. My other social media links are also in the description down below, along with my Patreon if you'd like to support the creation of my content, and my Etsy shop if you would like to get a personal reading with me. So thank you guys so much. Again, comment down below if you've been experiencing this, if this is new information for you. You can also check out my other playlists on my YouTube channel that I've curated to assist in coming into more of this awareness, if you'd like to check those out. I do have a playlist that's called How to Raise Your Vibration. Go check that out. There are so many videos in there. Just go down the list and see what resonates, or even scroll down without looking and just hit one and just see what comes up for you. That's one of my favorite practices as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. You are beautiful, you are amazing, you are infinite, and we are remembering it every single day, more and more and more. Thank you guys so much. Many blessings. Namaste. And don't forget, it is all about the soul journey.